As we talked about a lot of times, UK gas stations are running out of fuel due to the lack of truck drivers and panic buying. When debating the causes, one topic is treated as a taboo. Miles of traffic jams at gas or petrol stations and desperate people who cannot get to work or home. The UK fuel crisis also dominated headlines in the country on Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. Now even the army could help out. As the government announced on Tuesday night, truck drivers from the forces are being prepared to deliver to those stations. The background to the crisis is not a lack of fuel, but rather that it is not in the right place. It is estimated that there is a shortage of, I said it 1,000 times, 100,000 truck drivers in Great Britain, which has already led to bottlenecks in other areas. For example, supermarket shelves, they sometimes remained empty, despite the claims of Brexiteers. But the lack of sandwiches had nowhere near the same effect as the crisis at the pump. After some gas station branches were closed last week due to supply problems, many people tried to fill up again quickly, and the situation worsened drastically. Doctors and nurses are now complaining that they are not coming to their patients and that tradespeople fear losing their jobs. According to the government, the root of the evil lies primarily in the corona pandemic and a backlog of failed driving tests. Transport Minister Grant Shapps indicated on Tuesday that Brexit could also play a role. On the other hand, he emphasized the exit from the EU made it possible for the country to simplify the rules for driving tests. Yeah, especially gas. Oh, no. If you believe the government in London, the shortage of truck drivers is a global problem and even worse in countries like Poland than on the island. In Poland, however, there are no similar difficulties to those observed in Great Britain. In fact, the subject of Brexit is now being handled with sharp fingers. Neither the government nor the opposition seem particularly interested in engaging in a debate on the connection between the exit from the internal market and economic turmoil in the country. Brexit opponent Andrew Adonis, who sits in the House of Lords for the Labour Party, already spoke of the Lord Voldemort of British politics in reference to the villain of the Harry Potter novels, whose name is considered taboo. Labour leader Keir Starmer is now holding back criticizing Brexit. In his respect, he can be considered a burnt child. Starmer had vehemently advocated a second referendum during the Brexit talks and wanted to reverse the exit from the EU. But that ultimately played into the hands of the Brexit hardliners around Boris Johnson, who stole the mostly Brexit enthusiastic electorate from the Social Democrats in their traditional strongholds in the north of England, the so-called Red Wall. Starmer, who replaced the left-wing Jeremy Corbyn at the top of the party, now has all his hands full with keeping his own party together. Not an easy task, as was shown at the party conference in Brighton in the south of England earlier this week. A former Corbyn ally dropped his post as a member of the shadow cabinet in the dispute over the minimum wages. Labour, it seems, is once again preoccupied with itself, rather than criticizing the government, even during one of the biggest crises of recent years. On the other hand, you might have heard it this morning, Social Democratic Chancellor candidate Olaf Scholz in Germany had no hesitation in associating the Brexit issue with the driver shortages when he was approached by a British journalist on Monday. Attempts were made to prevent the British from leaving, he said, but they would have decided differently. Now it is hoped that they will cope with the problems that have arisen. By the way, he's answering English questions in English in his press conferences. Not everyone does that in Germany. The ex-chief negotiator of the EU in the Brexit negotiations, Michel Barnier, also spoke plainly. You might have heard it this lunchtime. Our most important capital is the internal market, and an elementary part of it is the free movement of workers, he told the BBC on Monday. Great Britain must now face the consequences of leaving the EU. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.